Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is 𝐷𝚫𝙳𝐻𝐵. My study ID number is, and I am from the Accounting Study Program, Faculty of Economy and Business, Bina Sarana Informatika University, Pemuda Campus. On this occasion, I would like to share my opinion about Indonesia's new President Bapak Prabowo Subianto and the MBG program, which stands for Makan Bergizi Gratis or Free Nutritious Meals. First, I would like to congratulate Bapak Prabowo Subianto on his inauguration as President of Indonesia. I appreciate his commitment and willingness to serve the country. Leading a nation is a big responsibility. One of his programs that has gained public attention is the MBG program. In my opinion, the purpose of this program is very good. It supports students and children so they can grow healthy and study with better focus. If children receive proper nutrition, it will have a positive impact on education and improve the quality of future human resources in Indonesia. However, I also understand that some people have concern, especially about budget management and equal distribution across different regions. Differences in opinion are normal in a democratic country. I hope the government can implement this program with good planning, transparency, and proper supervision so the benefit can truly reach those who need it most. In conclusion, I feel optimistic, but I will also continue to observe wisely. Let us support, monitor, and give constructive suggestions so this program can run effectively. Part 2. Adverb of frequency. So, what are adverbs of frequency? Adverbs of frequency are words that tell you how often we do an activity. We usually use them to talk about habits or daily routines. For example, when we say always, usually, often, sometimes, rarely, or never. These words help make our sentence more clear when we describe our everyday life. Did you know? In English, when we want to say how often we do something, we use adverb of frequency. This word tell you how frequently an action happens. Using them correctly help us express our daily habits more clearly. So, let's learn more about them. Now, let's look at the placement rules. The first rule is when we use a main verb, the verb or frequency is placement before the verb. For example, they often study at night. The second rule is when the sentence uses the verb to be such as is, or are, the adverb is placement after the verb. For example, she is always happy. So, the position changes depending on the verb used. This is the frequency scale, which shows you how often an activity happens. Frequency scale. The frequency scale shows how often an action happens. It starts from always, which means 100%, and goes down to never, which means 0%. Always means every single time, with no exceptions, 100% of the time. Sample, she always finishes her homework. I always drink water in the morning. usually means almost every time, but there may be occasional exceptions. 5 or 6 times a week. 90% frequency. Example, she usually goes for a run in the morning. She usually brings lunch from home. Frequently implies a high number of occurrences, but with more flexibility. For 5 times a week, 80% frequency. Example, they frequently call their parents during the week. She frequently checks her emails in the afternoon. Often implies regularity but with no specific pattern or high frequency. 3-4 times a week. 70 frequency. Example, he often plays soccer after school. I often take a walk in the evening to relax. Sometimes means the action occurs on occasion 2-3 times a week, 50% frequency. Example, we sometimes eat out instead of cooking. I sometimes bake cookies on weekends. Occasionally means the action happens from time to time but not regularly. It might happen 1-4 times a week or even less. 40% frequency. Example, we occasionally go out for ice cream after dinner. She occasionally volunteer at the animal shelter. Seldom indicated something happens rarely or infrequently, typical once a week or less, 30% frequency. Example, he seldom drinks soda, preferring water instead. They seldom visit the beach because it's far away. Rarely implies an action occurs very infrequently, possibly only once a month or a few times a year. 20% frequency. Example, she rarely eats fast food. I rarely go to the gym on weekdays. Hardly ever means almost never, something that happens very rarely. 5% frequency. Example, they hardly ever travel abroad. She hardly ever go back to their hometown. Never means that the action does not happen at all. 0% frequency. Example, they never skip breakfast. He never called his family. Now, let's see how to respond to frequency question. For example, how often do you read books? I usually read every evening. We simply answer using adverb of frequency such as always, usually, often, sometimes, rarely, or never. So, the adverb helps show how often the activity happens in daily life. Now, let's have a short practice. I want you to try making your own sentence using the adverb of frequency. Usually, sometimes, and never. For example, I usually have breakfast at home. Take a moment to drink and then try to say your sentence. Don't worry, the important thing is to place the adverb in the correct position. Write your answer in the commentary column. To conclude, adverbs of frequency are used to show how often an action happens in our daily activities. They help you describe habits more clearly and naturally. Remember that we place the adverb before the main verb and after the verb to be. By using them correctly, our sentence will sound more accurate and fluid. Thanks for your attention. Bye!